Hello traders and welcome to a new week with the team. Let's have a look at the markets right now and let's have a look at today's daily watch list for VIPs only. So let's start by looking at the DXY, the US dollar currency index. We had a very bullish close on Friday on the DXY. If you notice my 1 hour chart at the bottom of the screen. But again, let's have a look at the 4 hour chart because we are still below that big level, that big level of resistance, our key resistance level, our make it or break it level for bulls around the 90.60, right? So the last time that we were trading here, this is where bulls jumped in, right? And again, we have been trapped, or the upside on the DXY has been capped by that same level, right? Which was last week's highs and the previous week's highs, right? So we are still trending below that level. We are still very much bearish on the US dollar, and we will be unless we see a clean break above that level and price stabilizing above that level, right? That will confirm, in fact, the short-term, at least short-term reversal for a possible retest of the 91 level, which is the next key level on our chart right here. Actually, it's the 85 to 90. And we could see that retest, but again, we will stay very much bearish on the US dollar throughout this round of quantitative easing, right? So on the short term, we can see. Let's have a look at the hourly, right? The hourly also looks very toppy to the upside, and we will continue to look for setups, but right now there's very little direction in the market. If the DXY breaks with today's lows, which are these ones right here around the 90.46, we could see a bearish day, at least to retest third day's highs around the weekly pivot at the 90.30, right? So that's the DXY. And let's have a look at metals. Gold, let's have a look at gold. Gold is right now testing a big area of support. And, let me show you again. The long-term structure in gold is still very much bullish. Let's have a look at the daily chart in gold. It's still very much bullish, but we are still trading below those highs printed in January 21st, right? Now, the overall structure in this market, like I said, is still very much bullish. Right now we are retesting January 4th. No, I'm sorry, this is June 4th. This should be, in fact, Thursday's highs, lows. Friday's lows right here. Oh, this is the 2-day chart, of course. So look at the daily. We are retesting those levels, but again, we maintain our very solid bullish view in metals. Still looking for those setups to buy into this weakness. Now, we are retesting. We broke with last week's lows, and right now we are retesting the previous week's lows. At the very same exact level, around the 156.50 to 155.50, right? So what we are looking for possibly is to buy into this weakness, right? And the exact level that I am looking for buys is this one, but there is no setup right now to buy into this weakness because the overall structure in this market, like I said, is still very much in the short term, at least bearish. But if we look at the 50-minute chart right here, on the 50-minute chart, you can see that price is kind of stabilizing around the lows of the week, right? with the impulse is still very much bearish, like you can see on the last two candles. Let's call it the last two candles, the last 15-minute, the last two 15-minute candles. But if a price breaks with this very short-term structure, right, which looks like a reversal pattern, if you ask me, like a falling wedge, we could in fact look for longs. In fact, we are going to position ourselves right now for a possible reversal if a price or if bulls jump in here at this level and we break with these highs, which would in fact be a breakout of this reversal structure that I'm talking about, and a possible rally to test Friday's highs and Thursday's lows, and a possible rally towards the weekly pivot. But again, this price structure is very, very bullish, bearish. I'm sorry. It seems like we are going to be or the lows of the day are going to be taken out. But we remain looking for those possible longs in gold at these levels. Now let's have a look at some other commodities. Silver. Silver on the short term, well, very much like gold on the short term, we could be looking for longs in silver. But I mean, price actions, this is the 4-hour chart, and the price action is still very much choppy in this commodity, in this market. But if price really holds with that, the last key level around the 2760, we could, in fact, see a possible short-term reversal. But in my opinion, well, let's have a look at the hourly, right? The hourly in silver, right? On the hourly, we are in fact retesting a very, very big level, right? The 2770 level, let's call it. In fact, if you look at the structure in this market, it's very similar to gold, right? But the risk to reward in a possible reversal in gold is much, much better than silver's, right? So that's why we're going to focus on gold. Let's have a look at, let's have a look at crude oil, Brent. We took that buy in Brent, if you remember. And price broke, right, with the 73 level. Right now, we could in fact be looking for more longs if price were to retest again the 73 level. This is Brent. If price were to retest that 73 level, we could in fact look for longs. But I'm not too excited about this market in particular, so we are going to avoid it. Now let's have a look at some majors. The GBP USD again retesting with that very massive level of support. This is the 50-minute chart, of course, that we are going to be looking at the long term in this market. If you look at the daily, we are still very much trapped inside of this range. I am still holding those GBP USD longs, right, for that specific breakout that I am looking for, right? So this is the GBP USD is right now printing a, in my opinion, a very, very massive bull flag, right? We have a flat top at the 140.80 right here, and we are making lower highs, right? Still trapped inside of this range, of course, but I am still looking for that possible breakout above that 142.50 and a continuation of this massive rally from the lows back in April, right? There is no setup to go long on the GBP USD. However, I am looking at some possibilities on the GBP yen, right? So the GBP yen on the daily, if you can see, we are still inside of that very big bullish structure, still looking for longs in this market. And in my opinion, we're still inside of this flag. Right here, we are still inside of this flag. So, having said that, let's go and let's look at those 4-hour charts, right? And this is quite interesting. Why? Because last Friday, right, we printed what seemed to be the end of that ABC pattern at the 161.8, this previous big level, and the retest of the bullish structure, right? And we today we have printed a new higher low, which in fact is not yet determined that this is a new higher low, because the very short-term structure, like let's have a look at the hourly. The very short-term structure, it's still bearish, right? Until we break with today's highs, and if we break with today's highs, of course, this new higher low would be in fact a new higher low on the midterm structure, right? So where to look for longs in this market? Where to look for longs? That is the big question, right? So in my opinion, there is no setup to go long at the moment, right? And a possible break of these highs would in fact ignite that continuation. If you look at the 4-hour chart, right, the pullback structure, right, is still in fact in play. But until we break with those highs, right, the midterm bearish structure, which is this pullback structure, would in fact be broken with. And that, my friends, is what we are looking for, right? So that's the GBP yen, the US dollar, Mexican peso. I had those buy stops on the USD Mexican peso, and I did in fact delete them, because it was late on Friday, right, that we saw that big spike on the US dollar that in fact broke with that structure. And I remember now, and I delete them because I didn't get triggered before the CPI release, so I was not going to trade or leave that leave those orders open on the CPI. And after that, the risk to reward on this trade was less appetizing. So I decided to, in fact, delete them. And right now, price has stabilized above those previous highs, which is very nice, because it signals a continuation on this bullish breakout. Now, if we look at the daily, this is the level that I was talking about, right? At these previous lows where we saw a lot of buyers jump in. Sadly, we missed that entry because of CPIs, but we are going to still be looking for those longs. Maybe we can get actually a trade going on the break of today's highs. But let's have a look at the risk to reward on this trade. The risk to reward is kind of off to first target, so I won't be trading that breakout. But let's have a look at the 4-hour chart actually, because we could in fact avoid Friday's highs as first target and use this key level as a first target. So now the risk to reward is much more appetizing. So I will be sending this signal, in fact, right now. Yeah, US dollar Mexican peso looking good, and but I still need to see a massive bullish reversal. But yes, so I'm going to stop the video right now because I will be sending the signal. All right, so the signal has been sent. I have taken the trade. So let's move on. Very nice that we were able to catch that one, right? Yeah, let's have a look at some of the markets. The Euro US dollar, right? The Euro USD. Well, yeah, I mean, to me, the daily really doesn't say much. Let's have a look at the 4-hour chart. In fact, if we can actually see something here. Well, yeah, we are trading. I mean, we printed new lows, right? And yeah, this is a very non-directional move in a very bullish market, right? So we need to consider this. Yeah, it does look like a pullback structure, but you know, this very well, slow move is really well, it's not saying me too much. So I'm going to move on. The US dollar CAD, we're still holding that. Price stabilized above that breakout zone, which is very, very nice for us. And we're looking for that, well, for a continuation of that rally. So, yeah, the next big level is this one right here, which is Friday's highs. And well, it's going to take some bull power in order to break with the 121.80, let's call it. But the good thing is that we have stabilized above that breakout zone, and it seems that the continuation in the US dollar CAD is in play, in fact. So yeah, this is what I'm looking at. I'll keep you guys posted. Well, Bitcoin, we had a big breakout in Bitcoin on a Friday. Actually, the position that I took here stopped me out, and I actually really hate that about some brokers, you know, because well, if we're looking at Bitcoin price, right, my stops were below these lows right here. Yeah, right here. And in this chart, price did not break with these lows, but I managed to find a new entry at the breakout of these highs. Yeah, on Sunday. So if price stabilizes above those Friday's highs, it's going to be good for this possible bull continuation toward that 42,255. Ethereum, less appetizing, is still in fact trading in this very nasty range. Doesn't say much, and I wouldn't be looking for longs either at the breakout of these highs. Well, maybe if price actually breaks with the weekly pivot and stabilizes above the weekly pivot, we could in fact find some good risk to reward ratio trades here, but yeah, it's not saying much. Let's finish up with some equities. The FTSE is breaking well with Friday's highs. I wasn't looking too much at the FTSE, and I have been looking at that market too much because it's very difficult to find those buys. Now the DAX, in fact, rejected again this big buy zone, and but the risk to reward ratio on this possible setup was off, so decided against that one too. And thus, let's have a look at some US equities. Again, that big buy zone on the Nasdaq was very nice. I personally did not take that trade. Hopefully some of you did, because it was in fact, or I mentioned it on I think it was Friday's daily watch list. And the S&P 500, again, not saying too much. Let's have a look at the hourly on the S&P 500. Now, not at all, man. There is really no setup to buy into this. Maybe a possible retest of Friday's lows. You know, during pre-market, we could see a sell-off towards those lows. Those Friday's lows, and that could be in fact a zone to buy into this this possible weakness on the S&P 500. You know, that would give us a very nice risk to reward trade towards at least Friday's highs and today's lows, right? So that's me. Let's have a great trading week. Trade safe, and I'll see you guys today.